Why do we really turn to porn? Is it just sex or something much deeper? Tonight we pull back the curtain and uncover the hidden psychology, the dark, subtle reasons behind why millions of people watch pornography, what drives them, what keeps them hooked, and what it does to the mind, the body, and relationships. If you think you know the answer, you might be surprised. Stay with me. 1. The landscape. Let's begin by setting the scene. In our digital era, pornography is ubiquitous, accessible with a click in seconds, often anonymously. According to the Society for Male Reproductive Health, SMSNA, and other expert bodies, watching porn has become common, even among younger people early in adolescence. But if it's so common, what motivates people to do it? What are the reasons behind hitting play? Researchers have studied this, and the results show a surprisingly wide array of underlying drives, some benign, some darker. In one study, they identified 78 distinct reasons for consuming porn. Tonight, we'll examine the key motivations, the psychological mechanisms, including dark psychology, the possible risks, and what this all means for real-life relationships and well-being. 2. The major motivations. Here are the major categories of reasons why people watch porn, backed by research. 2.1. Sexual arousal and drive. One of the most obvious reasons, arousal and sexual gratification. Ever since porn existed, it has been designed to stimulate sexual desire. The study quoted by Fight the New Drug shows that arousal is the top reason many people cite. In the evolutionary psychology study, this was called the increased sex drive dimension. People with a higher drive, or short-term mating orientation, may turn to porn instead of real-life sexual encounters. Dark psychology note. On a deeper level, porn can act as a super-stimulus on the brain's reward system, dopamine, novelty, visual cues. The brain may become conditioned to expect high levels of stimulation, which can distort normal sexual response. 2.2. Learning and enhancement. Sexual performance. Many users say they watch porn to learn sex techniques, explore fantasies, or feel more confident. The evolutionary study grouped this as enhancing sexual performance, e.g., to learn new sex positions, to understand the sexual pleasures of people of the opposite sex. According to other sources, about 24.5% of 18 to 24-year-olds listed porn as their most helpful source to learn how to have sex. Dark psychology note. This motive hides a kind of performance anxiety, the belief that I must perform, I must know more, I must be better. That can create an internal pressure, feeding into continual consumption. 2.3. Curiosity, fantasy, and exploration. Another strong motive, curiosity, novelty, fantasy. The Covenant Eyes article lists curiosity and exploration as a major reason. In the Psychology Today summary of the DepthAuthored study, the top motives were sexual pleasure, sexual curiosity, fantasy. Dark psychology note. Fantasy gives power. In porn, the viewer is in control of what they watch, how long, what kind of scenario. It's an illusion of control and a departure from real-life vulnerability. That can feed deeper into compulsive patterns. 2.4. Coping with emotions, stress reduction, boredom. Beyond purely sexual reasons, many people turn to porn to cope, to escape stress, negative emotion, boredom, loneliness. From the Fight the New Drug article. Another common reason people watch porn is to cope with uncomfortable emotions. From Psychology Today, stress reduction, emotional distraction or suppression, boredom avoidance are associated with problematic porn use. Dark psychology note. Here the brain uses porn as a self-medicating mechanism. Instead of engaging with emotions or relationships, the person numbs out via high stimulation. This loop can reinforce dependency, unpleasant emotion, porn, temporary relief, guilt, shame, more porn. 2.5. Social, instrumental, peer-oriented reasons. There are also more social factors, peer pressure, relationship dynamics, cultural norms, and instrumental uses. The evolutionary study AS fourth factor, social and instrumental reasons, including reasons like, all my friends are watching, because they appear in a series I am watching. Dark psychology note, social dynamics matter, the everyone is doing it effect, the fear of missing out or the masking of discomfort within a group context. When porn use is normalized socially, it reduces the perceived barrier to entry and may reduce self-awareness of the underlying motive. Why some use can become problematic. It's important to clarify, Not everyone who watches porn develops problems. Many use it without noticeable harm. However, research shows that certain motives, patterns, and psychological mechanisms increase the risk of problematic use. 3.1 Motives. Linked to problematic use from the Psychology Today piece. While sexual pleasure, curiosity, and fantasy are common motives, problematic pornography use, PPU, is more strongly associated with stress reduction, boredom avoidance, emotional distraction, suppression. In other words, when porn is used primarily to escape or numb, rather than for healthy sexual expression, the risk of a harmful pattern rises. 3.2 Addiction-like features. Research has explored patterns like tolerance, needing more extreme content, withdrawal, irritability when unable to view, salience, preoccupation with content, conflict, usage interfering with life. These are found in behavioral addiction models. Fight the New Drug writes, because of the ways a porn habit can affect our brains, porn can still be a habit that's difficult to get rid of. Dark psychology note, the brain's reward circuitry is hijacked. Porn offers fast, intense visual sexual stimuli. This can create a maladaptive loop of chasing novelty for the hit. Real life is slower, more nuanced. The gap grows. The longer the loop runs, the harder it becomes to stop. 3.3 Effects on relationships and sexual satisfaction. Some researchers warn that heavy porn use may reduce relationship satisfaction, distort expectations of sex, diminish real-life arousal. From Fight the New Drug. With pornography use, much more of a normal stimulus may eventually be needed. Normal sex becomes much less interesting for porn users. Dark psychology note, the threat here is not just the individual, but the relational context. When one partner uses porn secretly or excessively, it can erode trust, intimacy, communication, and real vulnerability. For dark psychology mechanisms in play, let's zoom in on a few psychological mechanics, the ones less spoken of, but very real. 4.1 Novelty, super-stimuli, and dopamine. Porn presents images and scenarios that evolution didn't prepare us for. Rapid changes, extreme variation, high reward in short span. The brain's dopamine system rewards novelty and sexual stimuli. Over time, it can require more intense content to trigger the same response, leading to escalation. This is a supernormal stimulus effect. 4.2 Escape and avoidance. When someone uses porn not only for pleasure but to avoid negative states, stress, loneliness, boredom, they engage in experiential avoidance. This avoidance prevents processing of underlying emotion, meaning the root issue remains untreated, driving more consumption. 4.3 Reinforcement loops and habit formation. Repeated use creates habit loops. Cue, behavior, porn, reward, arousal, relief, negative after effects, guilt, shame, boredom, cue, again. Over time, the brain learns to expect the loop, making it harder to break. The secrecy, the shame, the hidden nature of the behavior often deepen the cycle. 4.4 Distorted reality and escalation of expectations. Porn often depicts exaggerated or non-realistic scenarios. Viewers may internalize those images as normative, altering their expectations of sex, intimacy, performance. This sets up a gap between fantasy and reality, which may leave the actual relationship or sexual encounter feeling boring in comparison. 4.5 Relationship to dark personality traits. Some evolutionary psychology research suggests that certain motives, like the short-term mating orientation, correlate with higher scores on dark triad traits: Machiavellianism, psychopathy, narcissism, and sociosexuality. The takeaway: motives aren't purely innocuous. They can tie into deeper behavioral patterns. 5. Why someone might want to quit. If you or someone close to you is watching porn and wondering, should I quit? Here are major reasons people decide to stop or reduce consumption: desire for healthier intimacy and more fulfilling relationships, recognition of the link between porn and sex trafficking, exploitation of performers. See Fight the New Drug's Reasons to Quit article. Feeling of loss of control, realizing the usage has gone from choice to habit. Awareness of negative mental health impacts, guilt, shame, decline in real-life sexual satisfaction, difficulty in relationships. Wanting to rebuild self-esteem, reclaim time and energy, reduce distraction. 6. Practical tips and guidelines. If you're watching this because you are concerned about your porn use, or someone you know is, Here are some practical steps and considerations built with dark psychology awareness. Reflect on your motive. Ask yourself, why am I watching porn now? Is it pleasure, loneliness, boredom, escape, curiosity? Identifying the true motive is key. Track patterns. Notice when you watch. Time of day, emotional state, environment, what you watched, how you felt after. Replace the loop. If you're using porn to divert boredom or stress, try healthier alternatives. Exercise, creative work, connection with others, mindfulness. Limit novelty escalation. If you find yourself chasing more extreme content, realize this may be a red flag of escalation and intervene early. Improve communication, if in a relationship. Talk openly with your partner about sexual expectations, porn use, boundaries, and real intimacy. Seek professional help if needed. If you feel loss of control, significant negative consequences, or deep shame, guilt, a therapist with expertise in sexual behaviors may help. Re-educate about healthy sex. Recognize that porn is not an accurate depiction of normal sex, body image, intimacy, or pleasure. Seek information from reliable sources. 7. Ethical and societal considerations. The implications go beyond the individual. The porn industry is large and complex, with ethical, social, and relational consequences. There are concerns about consent, exploitation, trafficking within the industry. Some people choose to reduce or stop porn consumption as a moral choice. The normalization of porn in youth, exposure at a very early age, sometimes before healthy education about sex, leads to distorted expectations. Cultural taboos and secrecy around sex can drive people underground into porn rather than open dialogue. The forbidden fruit effect amplifies curiosity and secrecy. 8. A to Z summary of reasons. Here's an A to Z rapid summary of all the major reasons distilled. A. Arousal, sexual drive. B. Boredom avoidance. C. Curiosity, sex learning. D. Distraction, escape from stress or negative emotions. E. Enhancement of sexual performance. F. Fantasy and novelty. G. Gaps in real-life intimacy or unsatisfying sexual relationships. H. Habit, addiction patterns. I. Instrumental, peer-influenced reasons. J. Jouissance, pleasure. K. Knowledge about sex. L. Loneliness, lack of relational skills, and so on. Each reason may appear alone or mix with others. The combination and context matter. 9. What you can take away. What is the ultimate takeaway? Watching porn is not inherently evil. It serves multiple motives. But awareness matters. Why you're doing it is crucial. If the motive is mainly escape, boredom, loneliness, or avoidance, then the risk of harm is higher. Real-life intimacy, vulnerability, authentic connection don't happen overnight or via screen. They require presence, effort, communication. The brain is plastic. Habits formed around high stimulation, like porn, can reshape expectations. Recognizing that gives you power. You always have a choice to reflect, to change, to redirect. If you're in a relationship, talk about it. If you're alone, use it as a moment of honest self-examination. Thanks for watching. If this video resonated with you, whether you watch porn, know someone who does, or simply are curious about the hidden motives behind our behaviors, please like, subscribe, share. It helps bring more awareness. Leave a comment. What surprised you most about your own motives? I'll be reading them. If you'd like a follow-up on how to rebuild healthy intimacy, let me know. Until next time, the less visible our motives, the more they control us. Let's bring them into the light.